Hey guys, my name's Alma and I'm here with the beautiful and wonderful Rebecca. We're here on the Nova Boba podcast where we spill the tea on building a startup. Hope you enjoy.
See you soon.
Rebecca, you just turned 21 and you've already built and exited two startups. You've launched a UN affiliated NGO and you're doing all this while studying chemical engineering as a period. Some people are just built different. And I'm wondering, what drives you?
That's such a good question. There's obviously so many different things, but I think very honestly, you're either driven by fear or by a goal, and fear is obviously much stronger. So I think my biggest fear is to die, knowing that I could have done more. Really? Yeah. I think it's just wasted potential. Like imagine you could have done, like imagine you die and you see two versions of yourself. What the one that you lived and the one that could have done so much more. How terrifying is that?
That's terrifying.
Right?
That is terrifying. Did you just grow up as a child thinking, like, I just got to maximize every get that I get?
Yeah. Because I've seen, I went to a school where there were people who were super rich and people who weren't as much. And I could see the differences. And I just thought, you know what? I've been so blessed. I had an education, I've got opportunities, I can speak, I can do all of these different activities. I need to use them to give more back to the people who can't. Because I don't think I'm necessarily the smartest person or the most talented person in any way. I'm sure there's some kid that don't have the opportunities that I do, that have, they're smarter than me and more ambitious and more capable, but they don't have that. So absolutely.
So you're just doing everything in your power to just maximize your potential.
Yeah.
Even with me, because I know we're both Christians, even that story where the master for the talents and some people very nice had it for saying, no, whatever you had, you use it to,
You need to multiply, you need to
multiply it. Yeah, and help others. Sort of what other mantras do you apply?
I think I've got two that I definitely can resonate throughout my life. The first one is the one I told you, which is nothing is hard. Like, what can be hard? If someone else has done it, you can do it. Like a math equation, a language, like what can possibly actually just be hard? Obviously, things take time, but they're not. Everything's achievable. And I feel like the second one would definitely be say yes to everything, but with a smile. So just be in rooms, find opportunities, and say yes. Don't ever say no. Or even if you don't want to overcommit, and they say, oh, how can I help you? How can I be involved in a capacity that I'm able to be involved in? And things just flow from there.
That's what I feel like you've done. You've just you absorb everything that people ask of you. You do it within what I see, as you say, dude. And yeah, I remember when we said the mantra as saying, yeah, is it hard? And I remember that really spoke to me because I think building the business and building the podcast, I'm always like, oh, woe is me. It's difficult when I have to do this. It's difficult when I have to do that. And I was like, Rebecca says, wait, if we just refrain your mind that it's not hard. It's not hard. Even Gay Bubble Tea still says, also, oh my gosh, how am I going to reach out to people? Rebecca's like, just build a scraper on Python. I'm like, that kind of sounds hard. She's like, that. I'm just like, yes, you just go
VS Code, download that Claude to write the code for you, and it works. Just input it in an Excel, and then ask the Excel to just send the emails to everyone. It is that easy. 10 minutes.
Really? Okay. Well, I'll be doing that. So yeah, like it's hard is my new mantra.
Yes.
And yeah. So I even want to get back into your building and exiting your companies. How did that even begin?
So I had two companies. The first one, I'm not going to speak too much on because I was 12. And it was a jewelry brand. We sold bracelets and it grew quite big because it became kind of if you were cool, you were wearing our bracelets kind of thing. Then the second one was a testing lab. So we created machinery to test biomaterials.
Wow.
I founded that at 16. It started because I wanted to get into university, frankly. I just wanted something to put on my CV and my personal statement. So yeah, was building bioplastics and stuff like that. And it just I met people, they were interested in what I was doing. They're like, oh, can you actually do that for us? We'll pay you. And that kind of started it. And how I ended up exiting was it just became infeasible when I came to study here in the UK. My team was back in Dubai, which is where my business was based. I also thought that we got to the saturation that we could at that point in time without having to inject more money or pivot or do something else. So I thought it was a good time. And I was selling that to one of our clients actually. And they're like, actually, didn't we buy you? I was like, yes, absolutely. And so that's how it kind of started. That's how it happened.
And what was before you came to you?
No, that was during you. That was during you.
Yeah. So you're running it, wasn't so feasible for you to be running it and more
Exactly.
okay to buy it and then. And how did it feel to have another exit under the belt?
You know what? It obviously it took a while to get there. So I think just kind of I thought it was going to be a sprint. We're going to be done in 2 months. It took what 6 or 7. So it took a while. And by the time I was burnt out, it was like exam season. So I don't feel like I enjoyed it as much as I would have. And at the same time, it's always like those nights, oh, did I sell for enough? Obviously, I was 16 when I founded this. It wasn't like a unicorn exit by any means. It was like, oh, should I have done more, etc. But now that I look back, it's an exit, you know what I mean? So it's an amazing first up opportunity, but also just an experience that I got that hopefully will teach me for the next as well.
So that you get bigger and bigger exits.
Exactly.
And even I want to touch on that, your work ethic, because you've building companies while at uni. You're also the president of Imperial Entrepreneurs. You're also part of a finance society, have internships at, top investment banks. Like, where do you find the time?
Everything is written in my calendar, and I take that like
Gospel.
gospel. Like I will follow it to the dot. I have notifications every time. I used to be notoriously late to everything, and people know that I am really late to everything. But I was like, you know what? I don't want to do that anymore. I want to be on time to everything, and just follow your calendar. And I feel like people underestimate how much wasted time there is in a day.
Yeah.
So just having a call that's too long, or even not planning the locations of your meetings, the commutes that you have to do from a place to another. There is so much wasted time that you could get an hour or two back, which is 3 or 4 meetings, So it's just about being a bit more intentional about where, when, how you book things in. And you find that you actually get so much more time.
So you really audit your calendar, your life. And do you do that the night before? Or the night before? Like, how does that work?
So my Sundays are religiously for planning the week. So I make sure that I spend an hour or two making sure that everything's in order. I also am not shy of moving people around.
Okay, like you think what you need to do.
Yeah. So if, let's say, I realize on Sunday that actually that location doesn't work for me, it ruins my entire day, or that meeting, actually, I may not have time to do it, I'll just send them a message and say, hey, can we reschedule to another time? And I do that quite often. But you realize the more that you do it, the less awkward or annoying it is.
Do you ever feel bad, but it's like, oh, I've given this person enough time, so it's fine? Well, I guess it's better to say, be honest and not mess people about when you can't get there.
Exactly. I think it's ruder or more annoying to mess up someone else's day on the day, like a few minutes before, as opposed to even the night before, Like today, for example, in the morning, there was a meeting that was like, there's no way I was going to make it if it wasn't going to be 10 or 15 minutes. So I just had to change that. Yeah.
That's really cool. And LinkedIn's 2025 Workplace Learning Report found that the number one skill employees say they want to develop is learning how to learn. How can people learn to learn better?
Yeah, so I think you need a schedule, just like school that tells you at this time you need to be here, you need to do this. That's the textbooks, there's different things. You need to be intentional about what you want to learn. Otherwise, as soon as you leave university or schooling, you're just doing your job, you're doing your work, you're not learning anything new. So one thing I do is that I pick a topic every week that I just want to obsess about or focus on. And I gave you some examples. It could be architecture, or like a specific type of architecture. It could be trees, a certain type of tree. It could be a language. It could be a country. It could be an era, a war. It could be, I don't know, a textile. It could be anything, an industry. And I spend my week obsessing over it and learning. And how that looks like for me is just immersing myself. And that means listening to podcasts about it, reading Substack articles. I also love AI. So I just ask AI questions. So I have ChatGPT and Claude on my WhatsApp, just like as a number. So I just voice message it.
As a number?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So you can look it up. If you just look up ChatGPT number, and then you just message that number, and it's just like you're messaging ChatGPT.
Really?
Yeah. Of stuff. So I just send a voice message while I'm on the tube or anywhere to Claude or ChatGPT, and then it just gives me whatever I want.
I'm curious for anyone who also go back to you selling a startup, anyone who wants to find buyers for their startup. I know yours came from a kite, but how else can people go about selling their startup? Like, where is there a market for it?
Absolutely. First off, there's a few now new mini investment banks for startups that are doing it. So that's always good to kind of reach out to them. But other than that, just reach out. I mean, I was telling you, I had a friend who literally just reached out to about 10 to 20 different buyers. She literally just built the brand. So she just built the name, how it looks like, and what the product would look like. And she sold it just by reaching out via email. There's scarcity of people reaching out for them to be acquired as opposed to a buyer looking for what they want to buy.
Buyers have the money to want to buy the biggest buy, and they want the technology, and they want the infrastructure, and they want the idea. So actually, you're doing them a service where you're like,
Yeah.
hey, I can sell my thing to you.
It's the same effort as selling your product. Hey, you're just selling the company. It's the same thing. If you're good at selling and you had something good to sell, why would anyone say no?
I know that you are really big on personal branding. What are some of the personal branding and public speaking tips you can give to our audience?
I know people say be authentic, of course, be authentic, but I think beyond that, be recognizable. So people know me that I'm always in heels. They know that I'm always in blazers. They know that I have really big earrings. That I always have my nails done. You have to have a brand that's consistent. And I think that's more important than, just showing up. Of course, it's important to show up, but I don't post as much as people think they do.
I don't think it's true, yeah. But I mean, every time you do post, it really does well.
Exactly. And that's, I think, because people first off recognize me, and second off, I'm not posting for the sake of posting. I'm posting because there's a message that I want to get across. And frankly, I think that's much more successful, at least for me and for my audience, than posting every day, because I'm not the kind of person who has to post it, honestly. Yeah.
On the flip side, how do you get better at public speaking?
Just do it more. Do it more. I started when I was 12, 13. They put me as MC of the Christmas concert for school. I was shaking. I did not know what to say. I was new in a new school. I could barely speak any English. I had a very thick French accent. It was horrible. And then since then, I was like, that's the worst it could be.
So you deleted TikTok and Instagram. There's a whole generation of people moving off social media. Why did you delete?
The reason why I deleted Instagram is, people are like, oh, I want to stay up to date with friends. I want to watch their stories. But you actually don't realize that most people, you can just stay up to date either in person, through WhatsApp. Pick up the phone and call. People aren't calling anymore.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's so weird when you receive a call and, oh, what do they
Yeah. Oh my gosh, is it urgent? Like,
exactly. That should be the norm, because it's, how many times have you messaged a friend and it has gone on weeks and weeks and weeks of just messaging without like a bye, right? And you're just messaging once a day for like a week. Such a waste of time when you can just pick up the phone. 5 minutes. How are you? Tell me. Update me on everything. Amazing. I need to go.
That's it. Because even I think on Instagram, we don't need to be updated on that many people's lives. Like, people are like, can I be updated? That you don't like. I think humans, we're not wise to be updated with that many people.
The people who you care about,
you will know.
Yeah, exactly.
You would meet up, you would call, you would know. Because even I remember every weekend on Sunday, my mum would have like a phone spree where she would just like call all her friends. I was like, gosh, I didn't think of it.
But that's such a generational thing. My grandma does that as well. Just she has to be at home because it's also the landline. So she's like, no, I'm not going out because I need to
be on the phone. Yeah, and it was quite like it was scheduled. It was scheduled. Like, it wasn't even like a bad like something you put a typo. It's like Sundays was the day we'd all of my friends catch it. Hey, Margaret, what's up?
Would you do that?
Do you know what? On the way to church on Sunday, I was going to like make a list of people to call.
Yeah.
And then because I was in such a rush and I was like, I only have 20 minutes. I was like, if I call and then.
Don't feel guilty. Just say 5 minutes.
Okay, just say 5 minutes. There's no need to have like.
One of my mentors taught me that, and it's the best thing I've ever learned. At the start of every meeting, say how long you have.
And that's it.
Amazing.
Go right and say, yeah, do you know what? I found that I don't want to be that kind of person, especially when it comes to friends. Like, hey guys, I'm busy, 15 minutes. You know, because I don't know, people feel like, girl, like, I thought this is a Sunday we're meant to catch up, and they're like putting a schedule on it, you know.
But if you don't call,
it's worse.
right? Then I should even speak to them, at least if they know you're busy, which they know, right? Like, my friends know I'm very busy. They know you're very busy. The fact that you even like thought of them, picked up the phone, they really appreciate that. And I appreciate that from my super busy friends as well. Like, thank you for the call. You know, 5 minutes out of your day, you could have been doing anything else, but you decided to call me.
So that's cool that you've deleted it and you're feeling a lot better for it.
Absolutely. I mean, I spent more time in other apps that, let's say I'm on my phone and I want to brain rot. I'll go on Duolingo, right? And like practice my Spanish like I should. Or I'll go on Substack, which I think is really good app to, if you just want to not think about anything and doom scroll. I'd rather doom scroll on Substack than anything else.
And even go back on our friendships and personal life, how do you protect your personal life when you have so much going on?
I think so. My friends know that Saturday night is for the girls.
Oh, nice.
So that is kind of, unless there's like a massive event that I have to go to, no meetings. I will be done by 7 p.m. ready to go out with the girls. Yeah. So even Sunday morning is brunch time. Again, I make sure to prioritize. I think you're going to optimize, right? So it's always better to be in groups as opposed to one-on-one. Much easier, same thing. But at the end of the day, if you just, send a message, hey, I miss you, how are you? That keeps that connection with your friends that otherwise you wouldn't. And also, you need to find low effort friends. I don't think I have any high effort. You know, those friends that say, oh, you need to call me every 2 days. We need to stay in touch. We need to message all the time. If we don't see each other once or twice every month, we're not friends. You realistically can't be friends with people like that. People who understand you and want the best for you and understand your lifestyle are going to be okay with that.
Right. So it's finding friends. So it's like, if you're too high for people, fair, buy that friend for you.
Yeah.
But knowing your life and your schedule, you prefer people that connect you that way. They go very busy.
And most of my friends are busy. You're my friend. You're busy. We message once or twice here and there, but we're still friends.
Yeah. But it's only because of entrepreneurship that I have more friends like this.
Yeah.
Before, it wasn't the case, though.
That's very true.
Before, I would be quite a friend person who would need to speak all the time. And then when I didn't hear from them, I'd be like, where are you?
Why don't you reply to me within an hour?
Where? But like, what? You got other friends? And my friendship, they're not worse off.
Yeah.
They're just different.
Exactly.
Exactly.
People overestimate how much friendship time they need. Right? Some people are like notoriously to be out every single day. That's often not the case.
Yeah. And even some of my closest friends who we used to call every day, she's now started her own brand. And she came with it full blast. And we don't talk as much, but we're both like pursuing entrepreneurship. And I just know that we're going to I mean, it's desperate, but we just know that the businesses we're building are like
100%. I think entrepreneurship is such a nice community in itself, where even if you meet someone, they're automatically friends.
Yeah.
Right. You never meet someone and think business partner like you do in investment banking or in finance, for example, where it's like, oh, colleague. No, we're friends.
Collaborate.
Exactly.
Because even meeting you at an entrepreneurship event, I think if we'd been in a corporate setting, then we would have been reaching out for coffee, because it would have just been like, we both bonded over our faith as Christians. And yeah, what role has faith played in your entrepreneurship journey?
I would say faith is the center of everything. It's not really a role, like a question answer. It's more the center of how I anchor my life, really. And I think the biggest thing is really just, is this going to serve me in the long term? There's a lot of opportunities that come through that might not be the best for you, whether it is business-wise or even socially, or even, as a person. Maybe I don't want to do that. There's obviously been opportunities where you had to maybe not be so nice to another person, or backstab per se, or lie, or offer something not to a good enough standard. And it's then when you go back to your morals and your values, and that you do. On the other side, it has also really made me work harder. Because,
Really?
because I've been given so much. It's not mine. And, as Christians, we believe that these are blessings from God. I'm not entitled to any of it. I need to give back. I need to make sure that through me, God has given me that for a reason. And often that reason is for me to give back to more people and multiply that. So I think it definitely has made me work much harder as well.
That's brilliant. I love how it's not part of it, is the center.
Yeah.
And have you always had a strong faith?
Obviously, faith is like a heartbeat, right? It goes up and down, otherwise it's dead. So yes, it's always been there. I've of course had my seasons, but I always try and go back there. And every time I do, I feel so much happier. And then I go away and I'm like, why did I go away? Exactly.
That's brilliant. And I even want to touch on to a 2023 SWOT report found that over half of Gen Z plan to start a business. Younger generations increasingly believe that being your own boss provides better job security than a 9 to 5, especially in an unpredictable economy. As someone who actually was let go from a job in pandemic, I do totally relate to this, that jobs aren't as safe as you think, especially as AI, people making these mass cuts, companies treating other people like they're disposable. What do you think's driving this shift in Gen Z's attitude?
I think we have a lot of resources now. We have everything at our fingertips. It is really easy to do everything. And especially now more than ever, you can code an app by yourself, and what they say that the first one-person unicorn is going to be in our generation, which is insane.
It's insane.
Right? So I think, and also social media has made everything so much more accessible. So now you can see someone succeed very easily. And you think, okay, if they can do that, I can do that. And it's that kind of thing where it's not anymore someone with deep experience and expertise, even though I do think that that's still quite important, that goes and starts their own business. And then, I was 16, I was 12 in my first one, 16, now I'm 21. I can go and build anything that I want to, really, because I have all the resources in front of me. So I think that's a very big push. Now, one thing I do say about Gen Z is that we're very entitled. Because of that, we feel like we need everything. We want quick money. We've seen the crypto bros make millions on a trade, and we feel entitled to that. We feel like everything should be easy. And I feel like that's something that the Gen Zers that are going to succeed the most are the people who understand that and are going to put the hard work and know that everything is at our fingertips.
I agree, because seeing other people my age being like, I made X money this bucket. It's not that like, oh, now I'm so focused on money, and it's not a jealousy thing, but it's more like, oh, like if they can do it, like this, it is possible. And I think there is something about being what you can see.
Absolutely.
And it's been really helpful. So I even want to go into that a bit further. What do you think the most overlooked opportunities are in startups for young people right now?
Overlooked opportunities to start your own startup or to join a startup?
Oh, both. Like, what sort of where can people be looking? Maybe what industries can they be looking in? Maybe what types of company can be?
Absolutely. So I think one aspect of the industry that a lot of people aren't looking at is just the industries that don't need revolutionization. I'm talking literally just make paper better. Like, you don't have to revolutionize paper. Just create tables that look pretty, or like just those little kind of industries that you just need new fresh ideas. And you need to integrate AI in your operations to just make it more profitable.
Yeah.
But you don't necessarily have to go and create something brand new or code it from scratch, right? So let's say my parents are in education. You don't need to revolutionize education. I think it's which is what, my brother and I are doing now with the family business, is go there and make it better from the inside. You can do so much with that. So I think that's an opportunity that people who, let's say, don't necessarily are interested in coding something or into thinking about something new. These are industries that are not going to die. They're still going to be there. So go for it.
Oh my gosh, that's really cool, because even there's this guy in this co-working space we're at who recently started a toothpaste business and added more minerals. That's all he's done. Now he's made $500,000. Do you know what? It's like, I can't believe that's all that it took. Sometimes I think we could have these big new ideas. All we need to do is be AI native and like make more profit by using AI to
branding goes a long way. At the end of the day, what makes one vehicle brand better than the other? And I don't know if you guys have been to Space NK in Sephora, but you're not going to leave without spending £500. They're making a lot of money. You're doing what? For
the same stuff. Yeah.
It's the exact same thing from the same factory. And I'm an engineer at heart, so I love real science. I think there's a lot of IP, let's say, in universities that aren't used. So I'm on both sides of the spectrum. But at the same time, those industries, the ones that don't need revolutionization, need people to work in them. So
And even you be the president of Imperial Entrepreneurs, what were some of the best founders you came across?
It's the founders that have crazy ideas. So now moving away from
The boring.
the boring, just do something mundane, which is still a big opportunity. I'm interested personally in things that people have never thought of. Like, let's say the winners of this year's incubator, which we launched last year, so this is the second cohort, was a startup that are making coating for ligaments. Coatings.
Okay.
It's like in materials engineering where for cartilage and ligaments. So cool. Who even thought of that? So I really like those kind of startups. I think there's a lot of IP locked in universities, and that's something I'm very passionate about. So I've been working with the Frontier Tech Labs on that, because there's just so much science locked in research papers that no one are gonna read.
Oh my gosh. I had the same discussion with a friend who's trying to build an app to decode some of these complex research initiatives built to turn into access opportunities, because it is a problem to have these people not productize or, get these things out there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're scientists. And you can't ask for everyone to be everyone. Some people are scientists, some people are CEOs, some people are founders. You don't have to be the entire range. And so you just need to connect those people together. But if the scientist can't explain his idea, how's the founder gonna understand it and then lead that through, And I think that's one of the biggest things I've been working on, and I've been consulting in some sort of way to do that. But I've been looking into making that into something a bit more like a business, where actually this is real science and this is founders that are looking for CTOs. How many founders that I'm looking for a CTO, I'm looking for an idea. There's so many of them. They just don't know how to communicate because they've been locked in a lab for the past I don't know how many years.
And all business is getting funding and opportunities and how you communicate your idea. That's mostly what it boils down.
Because what a CEO does.
Because you can have the best product, the best science, but if people don't know or people don't understand,
how are they going to find you?
So now we've got a bit of quick fire questions.
Oh.
I just want to just get to know you a bit more. So what is your favorite song you play to get pumped up?
Pumped up. Oh, I love like a Spanish song. Yeah. I love Dance Like Kuduro, for example. Like, I don't know if you've heard of it. It's like a very like European 2010 song. Yeah, exactly. Those kind of songs I love. I dance bachata, so.
Yeah. I used to do it, but it's a bit sensual.
No, I don't do sensual bachata. Only Dominican.
Only Dominican. Oh, yeah, that's different. Okay.
So I listen to that a lot. Anything like that. I also, unpopular opinion, I love listening to like Mario Kart soundtracks.
Oh my gosh.
When you get to get,
sorry.
This is such a hack. If you have an essay or an assignment that's due in a few hours and you really need to get your brain popping.
And you're like,
like at 3 a.m., that's gonna get the work. Trust me. With 4 years of chemical engineering,
like I know listen to Mario Kart. But I guess when you're driving the car, you do need the kind of
it works.
So try that next time.
It's so good.
Mario Kart music. Okay, so what are your favorite Substacks?
Oh, I've got so many. I look at my favorite authors and I go to their Substacks. So, for example, right now I'm reading Mike Burgess, Fontaine, which is mimetic theory. Very interesting. It's about why you want things that you want. Why does a human want things? Why do you want to be an entrepreneur? Why do you want to do a podcast? Why do I want to be on the podcast? Those kind of questions that are so important for us to understand, because it makes you realize that things that you actually want for you and things that you want just because you feel like other people want you to do or for other reasons, and then it brings so much more peace. But anyways, that's one of my favorite Substacks. I love just looking up different topics on Substacks as well. And just look at your favorite authors. I think there's so much gold in there that people aren't looking at.
And with that theory you're mentioning, why do we want things we want?
There's a lot of reasons, but one big reason that we want things we want is because we think other people want, we think other people think we want to do it. Right? So it's like I'm on the podcast because I think that X thinks that I want to be on the podcast.
Ooh.
As opposed to me just wanting to be on here.
Is it like a social signal to someone else? But
yeah,
I think that I want to be.
Yeah. Like it's an expectation. We think that the other person has an expectation of us to want to be on the podcast. That's like
Rebecca does up to you, like,
yeah. So like, let's say when we were talking about being a unicorn, you were like, oh, why don't you want to be a unicorn founder? It's like, you think I want to be a unicorn founder, but actually I don't. And so it's that kind of internalized wanting that actually other people think I want to be a unicorn founder. So now I need to be a unicorn founder.
So if you were ever to be a unicorn founder, it'd because other people's expectation, because they think Rebecca's so ambitious, she wants to be a leader.
Exactly. And that is actually one of the main reasons people
Do what they
do what they do.
That's very sad.
Yeah. Instead of, I just want to be a unicorn founder.
But then, you know, but we do care what other people think, I guess.
Of course you do.
Yeah.
It depends on what, right? I think there's different levels into caring what people think. Of course, you should care on first impressions. You should care about reputation. You should care about those kind of metrics that help you get further in life. But when it comes to deciding what you want to do in your life, dude, and I started reading that book because I didn't know what I wanted to do after university. I'm graduating this year. I could go and found something. I could go into corporate. I could do a PhD.
Because I will think you should do.
Exactly. So but I had no clue what I wanted to do. And then I was just sat down. I was like, what did I want to do? And when you get rid of those noise, and you can only identify the noise when you know about it, then you really can make true decisions that put you at peace no matter what.
And what's your morning routine?
My morning routine, I'm always in a rush.
Really?
Yeah. So first thing, check my calendar, still in bed. What time do I need? Okay, do the mental calculations of how long I need to get ready. Let's just get ready.
Yeah.
So it's skincare, then makeup, outfit, hair. That's the order. Get out of the house. Rarely have breakfast. Actually, you know what? I think routines are over glorified. I think just like getting shit done. Just get that done. Like, you know, like these people who take notes at universities and highlights them and make them pretty. If that works for you, do it. But that is like a guise of being productive.
It's procrastination.
Exactly.
Rebecca, something that I've seen you and others do, like really people, high achievers, because I used to be one of those people that I need my notes. I need to get a new notebook. I need to what I noticed, people who do what they do, they're not even waking up at 5 a.m. They're not going to, like, as you said, they just get what they could do. That's actually all it boils down to, which, yeah.
If someone on Instagram tells you to get up at 5 a.m., that's because they don't want you to know that they're not getting up at 5 a.m. and they're actually getting work done. A lot of people don't want other people to succeed, right? You're of this podcast and you're interviewing entrepreneurs to give raw opinions and you're getting real advice. But someone who's making money off that is not going to tell you the secret it takes, right? It's like the truth, exactly. So getting up at 5 a.m. is such a lie. Most people who are billionaires get up at normal hours. They don't make their bed because they had someone to make them bed for them. Because I have a very good friend of mine who always says, believe nothing of what you hear and half of what you see. And it's amazing.
Yeah, for sure. And even I want to spill the tea on that. So what is the worst part of being an entrepreneur?
The worst part? It comes with stress and anxiety. It comes with like constant self-doubt. It comes with constant feeling like you're not enough and feeling like you're not doing enough. Even, you know, people come up to me and they're like, oh, Rebecca, how did you do this? So I'm like, I don't feel like I'm where I should be. I feel like I'm behind, right? Which is crazy because
compared to who?
Well, that's the thing. I compare myself to everyone else and everyone else is comparing themselves to us. I go and I speak to a unicorn founder and they're like, no, it's not good enough. You know, when we got unicorn status, I didn't even celebrate because I was too busy focusing on the next thing because it's not good enough, you know? And this is being an entrepreneur and you have to be self-critical. I don't think that you can just be happy in where you are and be an entrepreneur. You have to be always slightly discontent, but you need to find peace in that. And it's a hard balance, but with faith, with also understanding why you're doing what you're doing, you're able to get that kind of discontent constantly while being at peace with, yes, this is where I want to be. I want to be discontent. I don't want to be happy where I am.
Yeah, I'd love to sort of round off the podcast by saying for anyone who is watching and they feel behind and looks at you and think, you know, I could never, what would you say to them?
I would say that I'm feeling the exact same thing. And everyone who's doing, you're looking up to and saying, oh, I want to be like them, or feeling the exact same thing as you.
Yeah.
And it literally takes an hour to change your life. It takes an hour of sitting down, writing down all the people that you know. How can I contact them? Writing down all the things that you want to do. get on your AI and just get them to synthesize everything. And you can change your life in an hour, in a day. Take a week off. Just take a week off work right now. If you're in a corporate job and you want to start something, you want to be an entrepreneur, just take 3 days off and think. Read a book and just sit there in silence, and you can change your life around. And you don't understand how much a year can do. Like, if women can create life in 9 months, what can you do in 9 months? What can anyone else do in 9 months? Insane things. So it's never too late. You always know, be resourceful. I think that's one thing. Most entrepreneurs and most billionaires and most successful people are resourceful, and you have to be resourceful. And it takes time. It's a muscle that you have to train. So do that, and tomorrow you'll incorporate your business. It's very quick.
I really resonate with be resourceful. Never think I need this, I should have more of that. But do what you can with what you have.
Absolutely. And it carries on growing. And what's beautiful about entrepreneurship, or just about life, really, once you have one achievement under your belt, the next one is so much easier. Everyone says the first million is hard. Every million after that is subsequently easier. And it's very, very true. As soon as, SF loves failed founders. What can you lose by starting a startup? You start one, you fail, and now you're loved in SF. You know what I mean? You cannot lose in this world.
Yeah. Yeah. Failure, we need to embrace it.
Just get started.
Just get started. Rebecca, it's been a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me. It was amazing boba, by the way, guys. Cheers.